before episode one begins, this is just a quick editor's note. I've recognized after listening to this episode about 6 times that I tend to swear when I'm nervous. And as this is the first episode of the series, you're going to hear about a dozen swear words or different segments using primarily the F word. So I apologize in advance. I'm going to get better at it. It doesn't come from Shane, our guest. It comes from myself. So this is just a moment of self-reflection before the episode starts. So depending on who you are and where you're listening, please remember that. It's not in any negative way. It's just in terms of excitement. It happens to come out. So I do apologize for that. I will try to get better in future episodes. The reason why episode one was delayed for so long was because I tried to cut and snippet out all the different swear words and then add in bleeps over it, and reformatting and allowing the video to reconnect itself was still taking forever. So I've decided to just launch the episode without cutting out any of the swear words because it was taking way too long and I'm too impatient for that. So without further ado, listen up. Thanks, guys. My guy, you there? What's going on?
What's up, dog?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm just trying to figure out the Zoom thingy. I don't know how to split the screens or whatever. I have no idea. This is hilarious. I have no idea how to do this. Let's do a gallery view. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. You in gallery view? It's at the top right.
Yep.
How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm just in my studio right now, actually.
Cool. So before we get going, this is going to be the introduction to an Untold Narrative, episode 001.
Yep.
And I wanted to give you a little bit of a proper introduction to whomever tunes into this.
Okay.
I've only spoken to Shane once in my life, and then once through DMs. So this is now the third time we've spoken. You sort of, I don't know how to word it. You just sort of captured my brain, and I was really excited when, I was starting to conceptualize, who do I want on the show and kind of to talk to, and you were the immediate first person that I thought of. So I'm super happy to have you. You are an incredible artist, first and foremost, right? And I think that's why I don't even know how you found my page, but how we met and how, you literally, and I kind of teased this in the first episode or the prelude that was dropped today. You literally just sent me a message just being like, let's collaborate.
Yep. I mean, I think I watched your introduction episode earlier, actually, and I think it was funny when you said you just reached out to everybody. And I've been at the point now, especially, where Instagram, I think, is becoming the pinnacle of what, creatives show their stuff on and just, interact with other people and everything. And with all the different people I follow and when I came across your page, you're doing the stuff that, I've always dreamt of doing since I was 12 or 13 and came across it. And then that's where I just was like, all right, I got to DM this guy. Just another DM that you just kind of rifle out there. And like you said, not anticipating any sort of response. And yeah, and it was just another one of the DMs that I was expecting, like you said, just another either no response or something like that. And then when you actually answered, I was like, oh, no way. So
yeah, it's amazing, and I'm so happy that it worked out and it will work out, and I don't know, it's such a crazy world, man. You never know what's going to happen, and I appreciate the comments, but I think it'd be super cool. I don't want to reenact our first conversation, but I want to talk about a lot of those things, because a lot of the points that you brought up to me were really inspiring. Your past, to give some context, you're a senior at Boston College. You played D1 football. You no longer play D1 football, and you focused all your energy into this new art form, which is art, but into this new kind of time consumption that used to be football and now it's not.
And to me, I think that's what a lot of people go through in life, whether it's sports or not. You're so attracted, and you're so kind of you're in the cogs of the wheel of life, and you get lost in it. And then when something happens or something breaks off, and you're just like lost and you have no idea what to do, and then you figured it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much just that, where, like you said, the stuff that you don't expect, or, everyone usually likes to have a plan or whatever that may be, or, I'm going to do this or I want to be this, but I really have not had, a set plan. The only plan I really had was playing college football, and whatever came after that was, the subsequent results of just like working towards playing football. And really that's all I ever did. People have like the, classic origin stories, whether it's Batman or, anyone, it was kind of like the classic, or the story that I like telling people is when seventh grade, I vividly remember this. It was seventh grade. I was playing Call of Duty, and my dad walked in the house, and he just came home from work, and I was expecting, another like, hey dad, what's up? And he walks in the house and was like, if you ever want to play college football, stop playing Xbox. I was like, what, seventh grade? I was however old I was at the time. I was like, all right. And I vividly remember he went over, unplugged it, and said, I'm not joking. If you told me, because it was literally like maybe a couple days before that, I told my dad, I was like, I want to go play football at Boston College. He was like, okay. And I was in seventh grade at the time.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was playing youth football like everybody else. I didn't really I wasn't standing out. I guess I was good, but at the same time, it wasn't like, it was a seventh grade kid just being like, yeah, I'm going to play Division I football one day. Not really anticipating it actually happening or anything, but
you straight up manifested the shit out of that.
Yeah, it's growing up around like in Boston area or near Boston, and Boston College is like is the end all be all for local kids, especially if you're a good high school football player. Especially being an offensive lineman, it's like an O-line factory. Like a lot of NFL greats, and then people I personally looked up to, or people I've known. Like there's a couple of there's some people from Marshall High School, including my head coach, who was a big part of me going there. I've played at BC too. So, I told my dad that. I think it was literally like maybe the week before, and he was like, all right, if you're serious about that, I'll show you that I'm serious too, because he was my coach. He was my position coach and everything. He said, if that's what you want to happen, then unplug the Xbox. And he unplugged it, and I didn't get an Xbox until I was done with football season my freshman year in college again.
Holy cow.
So after that day in seventh grade, I literally, I didn't play Xbox anymore. And then I completely dedicated myself to like an obsessive extent to going to play football all the way up until.
So do you think that was a good or bad thing? Because like some people would view that as like, wow, that's really tough love.
Yeah. I don't regret any part of it, for sure. Just because you can think about what ifs and stuff, but I don't know where I would be if I didn't completely obsess and dedicate everything I was doing to playing football throughout high school. I mean, it was kind of funny, Tom Brady did the Howard Stern interview, and I listened to that, and he asked, like, would you let your kids play football? And he said, there's something about contact sports and football in general that teaches you like valuable life lessons that you can't get from any other disciplines. And sure. I think that is like very true. So playing football and obsessing it to the extent that I did has now translated, I guess, like into anything else I do, whether before it was the art, it was playing Fortnite. I was obsessed with it way too much. I was like, maybe I'll start streaming, like not actually like serious about it, but it was Xbox. I was just playing so much of it. And then it's transitioned quickly into art. And then I've just gone completely.
That's exactly where we clicked so well. I remember it when we FaceTimed. It's like you started talking about you drive yourself to go so all in on things.
Yeah.
And like, I'm exactly the same way. That's why like, even this, right? What this is going to become, I'm going to create like 100 fucking episodes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or more. And I'm going all in. Like this isn't a 5-step process. This is like, I'm committed to this, and I don't care how much time it takes. And like, that's where your passion and your devotion to like whatever, I was like, this guy's going to do such incredible things. And how old are you?
I'm 22.
22 years old. I'm like, I was passionate back then, but this guy devoted, the majority of your life at this point to football. and then just to cut it off and like then figure out something else to do is really remarkable. And like, so why did you end your football career?
So, like, I guess I'll give you like the spark notes of it. I,
I got all the time in the world.
yeah,
No, it's up to you.
yeah. I mean, part of playing football is definitely injuries. So injuries are any physical sport. Any physical sport. So when you sign up to play it, you know that at some point you're gonna get major to small injuries. It's gonna happen. And throughout high school, I mean, my whole entire career, especially football, there are times where like you'll get hit in the head and getting your bell rung or concussions. I mean, there's like a little bit of a blurred line, uh, especially with football. It's tough to tell, and like the word concussion is kind of loosely thrown around, but it was something that I kind of struggled with once I got to college, just because throughout high school I had a couple here and there, like every other kid does. It was never really a problem or anything. But then my senior year of high school, I got in a car accident that I almost died in. That like really messed up. It like changed who I was as a person and everything. It was like pretty severe and just altered everything. But I got a really bad concussion from that had some lasting effects, but I didn't want it to like affect college football, and it didn't at first. And I played, did my whole entire freshman year, and throughout practice, like everything else like that, I had no problems. I mean, I definitely had a couple times where I got hit and didn't know where I was, but like that happens to everybody. Like getting hit and like.
See, that's a crazy. See, you just saying that's a crazy fact. See, me as like a Joe Schmo average watcher of NFL, I don't know that that's a normal thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, getting hit and like, it's literally like, I don't know if you ever use like a really bright flash on a camera where it just like
Yeah.
light, and then you kind of like come back and you really shake your head and come back to reality. Like that's
just like every day when I wake up.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, there'd be some times where like some kids, like you'd be like, you could see it coming, or just like even, just the subconcussive hits is what they call it. Just, every single play after play after play type deal. Sometimes I come away from practices or games or whatever and be like, oh, damn, like that. My head's, I'm going to, I'm probably going to take it easy with like video games and computers for the next couple of days, whatever it may be. But that like the reason I had to stop playing was going into my sophomore year, actually fall camp. I had a really good spring practice and spring into summer. They were really like trying to groom me to start playing for my sophomore season, and they were kind of hard on me and everything. And I was really, again, all focused on it because it was ever since 7th grade, I was trying to play college football, especially for Boston College. And I was finally going to realize potentially starting for them going into my sophomore year. And into camp, I got a hit. I could tell you the play and everything against who it was, whatever it was. It was in fall camp, something called inside drill, and everyone that I played with for sure knows what that is. I took a hit and like immediately went black, and I threw up and everything afterwards. And then it was probably the worst concussion I had. Jeez. And I was like, this isn't happening. Like, I can't let this happen, blah, blah. And ended up the next day, like practicing again and just making it so much worse. Oh. And then that ended up turning into another like 2 or 3 months of lingering symptoms. And I actually went out to UPMC in Pittsburgh at like the Pittsburgh Steelers medical facility. And there's like the world leading concussion doctor is what he's known as, Mickey Collins. I think it was my 4th or 5th. I went there 4 or 5 times, but the last trip he finally said that it was in my best interest not to play anymore. So I had to, obviously take his advice, and he said that you probably shouldn't play. And
this was at the end of your sophomore year or during your sophomore year?
This was right before spring ball started going into, so that spring football starts like it's right about now. It's right now. It would be right now. So after sophomore season is when they said no more.
Damn. And so how do you transition out of that, right? So you're now, I don't know, 15 years, or not, a little less than 15 years, but over 10 years deep into doing something every single,
Yeah, all I knew. Yeah, it was all I knew. I mean, I did track too in high school, but that was just for football. I did track just so I could focus on lifting for football and everything.
Right.
It was all I knew. And I mean, I didn't even go out in high school. I didn't go out in college. It was literally everything was football. It was all I knew. It was Shane, the football player. So like, as soon as I stopped playing and they said the words like, you can't play anymore, I absolutely lost it. I thought the world was ending. I mean, I shaved my head. I mean, I was doing really just, I didn't know what to do with myself. It was just like when someone, it's like taking your whole entire world out from underneath you. Like feeling like everything that you ever worked for or had was just like completely taken away. It's hard to really conceptualize or put into words, but like that's what it was like.
Unless you've been through something dramatic or traumatic like that in life, it's really hard to picture that when you're literally everything that you've been working towards or are working towards is taken and it's out of your control, right? So it's literally there's nothing you can do about it in order to bring it back. And I think that's really important to say is like, and picking yourself up, and you're going to do irrational things, and it's
Oh yeah.
I think it's really important. And so like you're going to hit that point, and you did hit that point, and like was there a defining moment where you figure out how to move forward, or like how do you snap out of that craziness, right? Between shaving your head. Luckily you just shave your head because you can. I shave my head because I don't have hair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there were no real defining moments because it was so, I mean, it's still tough for me because there are days I'll wake up and I'll say like, I should still be playing football. Like I think about it every single day. And I do realize that it's out of my control, and it was out of my control at this point. And I've, figured out what other things to do with my time or things to put my energy towards. But that was the thing where as soon as it ended, I kind of pretended it wasn't over and still worked out the same. The only thing I stopped doing, I was eating like 6 to 8 times a day. My heaviest was like 307 that I saw on a scale, 307 pounds. So
people eat 6 to 7 times a day.
Yeah, I was eating 6 to 8 times a day.
Seems like a lot.
Oh yeah. Right, yeah.
I think we can talk about that for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. I went from.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's.
Mm-hmm.
So I do. That's a lot. I can't get over. I might not be able to get over that. Holy shit!
They're right there. It's a fat head.
That's a fat head of you.
Yeah, it's me.
I could talk about that for another 30 minutes.
Yep.
You have your own fat head. Not many people can say that.
No, and it was a bowl gift our freshman year. They gave us fat heads of ourselves, which is, it's kind of.
You know what? One of these days, I'm gonna create one of myself because that might be the coolest fucking thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, when I get a man cave over or a basement or something, that's going right in there. But now it's like I got a studio that's going right in the back of my door. So
if anybody outside of us two watches this, and like, I need people to let me know if getting a fat head for yourself is okay.
I mean, even if people are like, that's weird, it's still so funny because you'll forget that you have it. And sometimes I'll shut the door and be like, oh my God. Like,
there it is.
Yeah.
So I one of the things you mentioned to me when we spoke was, that you were like 307, which is what you are a big human.
Yeah.
And how do you transition? You are no longer a big human or that big. You are much less of a mass.
Yep.
Like how do you transition to that?
I don't know. It was weird because at first some weight started coming off, but again, it's hard for me to go back because I don't really remember much during that period just because it was so hectic for me. And like, not that you like black out, but there are certain time periods where I don't remember just because my head wasn't right and everything. So it really was like I'd say second semester of my sophomore year. Once I like really started coming to grips with everything and I said, okay, this is it now. I mean, I started sleeping way later and everything, but now like I'm starting to like revisit it. Because it was the first time I had never had to wake up at like 7 a.m. and before. Like I was sleeping until I was like 9 or whatever. But it was still working out the same, kept me kind of grounded because that gave me something to do. So I obsessed over still working out the same. I was still doing the same workouts. I was asking kids what the workout was that day so I could try and do the same workout. But like I was doing it in like the rec center. I wasn't doing it like in the football weight room and everything. But I just stopped eating. And there's something glorious about eating once a day, coming from someone that ate, like I said, 6 to 8 times a day for like the previous 6 years. Like ever since I was like 260 plus ever since my sophomore year of high school. So I had to maintain that weight for like 6 years. So as soon as I stopped playing, I was like, I can eat once a day and no one's gonna yell at me. This is awesome. Like, so that was kind of fun.
That's
And slowly, but
like reverse psychology
yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, saying it now, it doesn't. I can't believe I was like that at one point, but that was like the for sure reality. And there are dudes that will tell you the same thing. When you stop playing, not having to eat is like the most beautiful thing in the world because you don't have to like gorge yourself.
If other people aren't surprised by this, people, I don't know. Maybe I'm different, but like that, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, college football is a different animal for sure, especially at a level where I mean they pay for you to go to school. So
So I'm not going to try to compare myself here, but I did play D3 tennis, right?
okay.
And the one thing that I had to worry about was not
Yeah.
showing up to a match hungover, let alone eating too much or eating too little. So what you've done is really incredible.
Yeah, we had to reach a certain weight every single morning. So when you came in for practice or lift or whatever it may be,
See, nobody knows this stuff unless you're in it.
I mean, it's normal. It is something like maintaining weight is a very normal thing, and actually, and especially for people that they like want to get to when I came in, I was like 277, and they said, okay, by like the end of freshman year, you have to be like 285, and then by the time you're playing, you have to be at least 295, 300. So like, it's normal, but the way that they go about it sometimes is like, it's a lot to handle. It consumes everything. Like all your time is, oh, you want to go out to like, hey, let's go like see a movie. Like, sorry, I gotta go back to the calf for like the third time tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're in your junior year, maybe even at like a year ago now. What do you how do you get into art? Because like the people can see the art behind you, and it's so good. And we'll talk about like how people can find you and stuff later on. But like, and your Spider-Man piece, the one right behind his R there, that one, the up close photos, that is, if anybody is a true Spider-Man fan, they fucking need that piece because it's unreal.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold on to it for like the right like time or person or whatever.
It is ridiculous. And so like, how does one go to devoting their entire life to something completely opposite of art? Because I'm 28 years old. When I was growing up in high school, like art wasn't cool. It was super cliquey when I was growing up. Like you were one thing and you were held to that, right? You couldn't. Today's day and age, we live in such a beautiful time where you can do multiple things. You don't have to be good at just drawing or footwear design or art or this or that. You can literally do it all. And there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, it's probably more accepted. And so back then, that was like the weirdest thing to do. And if you're a jock, you're definitely not doing art. And so I need to understand you're living it, or this is super recent. It must, I don't know how normal of a transition that is.
Yeah. I guess it's whenever I tell people, or like, especially people I haven't seen in a while, they're one shocked at just like how different I look, I guess. That's what everyone tells me. But then at the same time too, they're like, when did you start painting or whatever? And every time I tell it, there's always like things I remember or stuff I left out, or I always come to like some sort of realization, I guess, kind of like self-introspective type stuff. But
yeah,
it was, a little over a year ago. I mean, growing up my whole life, I always liked, because when people ask me the question, I definitely think back on it. I always like spray painted like skateboards around my house. I would always like at the beach, I would, make like elaborate, sandcastles, whatever it may be, like stuff like I was always really imaginative. I never.
Hold up, you gotta bat. You're frozen. This is gonna get awkward. And still awkward. Hopefully this doesn't end, because then it's going to become a 2-part video. Let's see what happens. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to cut so we don't waste the video when it does come, and then we'll add it again. You back?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I was just talking to myself for a while. We're good though. You said spray painting skateboards.
Yeah. So it was like spray paint stuff around my house, like skateboards and stuff. And I would always, I'd probably say probably one of my biggest influences is Bill Watterson, who started Calvin Hobbes, which is like I've included in like one of my more recent paintings. But that's always been something that every Father's Day I would like draw my dad a little snippet from the comic ever since I was like 8 years old when he like first started showing me it. So I'd
Dude,
always
Father's Day this year, the world needs to see that shit.
okay, yeah. I mean,
I want to see it.
yeah,
I don't know which Leonard followed the gram today. If it was your
yeah,
dad or not, but he needs to see that shit online.
yeah. I know. I probably will. I'll probably think of something.
That'd
But
be
yeah,
cool. That'd be super
it's
cool.
always, yeah, it was always stuff like that. And actually, my mom is a really creative person. At one point, she had her own like little boutique store and everything. And I
Oh,
just go
damn.
there. Yeah, I just go there and like look at the stuff that she had. This is when I was like 10 or 11, and
Sure.
she was like making sea glass jewelry and stuff, and I'd help her with that. Just because I liked making, I just always like making things. Like also like skate like little ramps and stuff in my front yard for my bike. Like I always like building and making things. So that always carried out throughout high school too. And then that translated into, I vividly remember like probably what started it all was one of my dad's friends that he played football with came over and he was wearing a pair of Cherry 13s, like Jordan 13s. And I was like, what are those? Like, those are the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. And up to this point, I'd only drawn like Nike trainers I had. And I would like copy my shoes and make different colorways and stuff like that, just, in class and at school and everything throughout middle school. But I remember seeing those, and then he introduced me to what like streetwear was and all different types of shoes and like what Jordans really were. And I was 12 at the time, so like I was really, or 12 or 13, so I was like really getting the intro to what this stuff really was. And I was like, this is the coolest stuff ever. Like Jordans are the coolest thing ever. And then he gave me a bunch of undefeated stuff that I still have. Some like real old undefeated like sweatshirts and hoodies. Like lost. It was like he introduced me to Stussy, like all different brands that I was like, wow, this stuff's really cool. Like I need to get into this.
Right.
So that happened, and that led into then football. So like I was always looking at, it was like around 2012 too. So freshman year of high school for me, when like Pyrex was huge and Givenchy was getting big, and like the Yeezys first like started coming out, like Red October's like sneaker culture and everything else started really advancing. And then that carries into music too. So like all my interests kind of like flooded into one like central thing. And I guess that became like interest in like the culture that is like affiliated with art. But I still never took it serious. And there was still like, I didn't take any class in high school because it was still football for me. So then really I didn't ever like practice drawing. I never took it serious. I always had a like appreciation for it. Right. And I still remember this. My grandfather had a painting called The Fog Warning by Winslow Homer. And that's probably still one of my favorite paintings. But I remember seeing that and being like, that is so cool that people can do this. Growing up in his office, like, but I never thought that that's what I want to do one day. So I guess fast forward to, going to BC, playing football, stop playing football. Like I'll forever, this story probably never, I'll probably tell it the same. If you ask me a million times, I'll probably tell it the same way every time, where I was in my junior year. Two of my best friends from home actually went to BC with me, and they had a house, and I would always go over their house and everything. And they kind of like introduced me to people that didn't play football. Cause really like my only friends, I never ventured outside of football. Like the circle I had,
Right.
Like, yeah, these are like other kids that don't play football. They're pretty cool. You should hang out with us. So I was like, okay. So hung out with them, and they're still, I lived with them the last 2 years or the last year. Some of my best friends, and especially Mitch and Kyle, who I went to high school with, but they were like, start coming out with us. And I had never, ever gone out in my life, like been social really, I guess you could say. So like going out into like college parties, all that. And again, one random night, one of my better friends that I played with, Ray, was wearing a pair of these crazy shoes, and they're all paints and everything. And I was like, yo, what are those? Like, where'd you get those? Because I was still really into shoes, still really into like clothes. I was starting to get into clothes now too, because I was like starting to get skinny enough where I could wear stuff that wasn't, from like Destination XL, or like wasn't stuff that the team gave me.
Right.
So I was starting to like get in clothes again too. I was like, what are those? And he's like, oh, yo, you got to meet this kid. My friend Henry, he makes shoes and paints them and everything. Like, I think you get along with him really well. And that was it, kind of just in passing. And then I think it was literally like the next weekend. I think I followed him on Instagram, whatever. Next weekend, I saw him at a party. It was like, yo, you're friends with Ray, right? He was telling me about those shoes. Like, I'd love to get a pair of those. Like, could we do that or whatever? And, you know, that turned into a pretty drunk conversation that ended up.
Those are the best.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours. And he like, you'd be good at painting, you should try it. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I'm gonna get paint all this stuff. So the next day, I literally went to Michael's, got some real, you know, low quality acrylic paint, and I got 3 rolls of wallpaper, and like just pasted them because he did some wallpaper paintings, and I was like, that's cool. Like, my apartment was completely bare. I had some like books and stuff, but that was literally the only thing in there. So like pasted up the wallpaper and painted one of my tattoos that I have on my arm that my dad also has. It's like this big bull skull. And I was like, that was really fun. Like, it was like, took an hour, like breezed by. I was like, this is really cool. And like brought me back to like making stuff when I was younger again. Like, it just like the same kind of nostalgic feeling, but then also the same feeling where what football used to do for me, where like an hour goes by, but it feels like 2 seconds. That's what happened. And I was like, this is cool. So then I got canvases, and then 2 canvases messed around with. And then I got this big canvas for this painting right here, actually, the shark, and then made that. And that was the 3rd painting I did. And I like showed my friends and showed like my parents. And obviously my parents were like, wow, this is really cool and all that stuff. And my friends were like, yo, this is actually like kind of good. So I like posted on Instagram. And this was, I think, the first post that wasn't football related. And people liked it, and I got a positive response. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this. And then started making little other paintings. And then a couple of my friends asked me for other paintings because they saw that I did that and the ones in my room. And it was just like messing around. Again,
Yeah, I think it's so bizarre, you know, how literally like that's a story that has so many different connection points. And like I talk about this all the time. Like I believe in the butterfly effect so much.
I was just gonna say that. If you didn't say butterfly effect, I was gonna say it. Yeah.
Dude, it's fucking blows my brain out every time. It's like you connected through these people who you shouldn't have if you weren't at the same party, if you didn't have the same roommate, dude,
it gets crazier too. It gets crazier. Like
it keeps going?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, keep going. Well, don't let me interrupt you.
So, did the shark painting, and then my mom's a real, you know, chatty person, real proud of her kids, like most moms are, but she loves showing off the stuff that we're doing, whether it was football or whether it now is the art thing. And the building I'm in right now, actually, she went to pick up a fundraising gift for a fundraiser she was doing for like an art class for a woman that used to be in the building. And she came in, was talking to her, and my mom, again, like I said, real chatty person, said, oh yeah, my son just got into painting, because this woman did like sea glass art, and it was something my mom did at one point too. And she said, oh yeah, my son just got into painting, and showed her the shark. And I had finished it literally like the week before. And she said, oh my goodness, that's really similar to a guy named Adam who's in the building. You should go show that to him, whatever. And my mom took it literally and just kind of busted into his studio because she heard that music was playing in there, went into the studio and said like, hey, look at my son's paintings. And Adam's the type of dude who's now I owe like the world to him pretty much when it comes to the whole art thing. He kind of brushed her off and was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. But she's like, no, like actually look at it. And he looked at it, and then she said, all right, here's my card, like tell him to email me. Emailed him. She told me about it, said she was an art studio. And at this time, I was like, it was during like a little over a year ago. So I was trying to find a marketing internship or something, because I wasn't living, when you play football, you live at school during the summer. And I was like, oh, I have to get an internship. I mean, because especially at Boston College, you pretty much have to for the summer, especially going into your senior year. I was like, I have to get an internship. This kind of sucks. And I was, you know, had interviews lined up, but I'm not the type of person either where I could see myself, you know, just going and working like at like a general, I don't really want to put like too much of a label on it, but I can't really sit at like a desk every day. I need to be doing something. I need to be up and like engaged. I need to be working on a lot of different things, I guess, just because I get not like impatient, but I get kind of bored with the same thing over and over again. I like learning and doing newer things, I guess. Yep. So taking all that, I said, I don't want to do just like an internship that I feel like I won't get too much out of. I want to do something with the art. I didn't know what, because again, I'd only been doing it a month. I just knew that I feel like I could be good at it. And it was something I truly enjoyed. The first thing since football that I was like, this is awesome. I like doing this. This is a nice, like, cathartic release of the stuff that I deal with. Just like, you know, like I said, being like doing new things, learning new things. It was something where like I felt, because it was just Xbox up until that point. So showed me this, told me about Adam, emailed him and said, hey, like, can I do anything in your studio? Like stretch canvases, whatever it may be. I mean, I'm not the best painter.
As that internship.
Yeah.
And
Like
just to give context, you currently are going to school for marketing.
marketing and information systems.
Okay, so you probably, to support that that degree, you probably should have got a marketing internship.
Yeah, I probably should have done marketing.
I just wanted to bring that full circle.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, my mom kind of knows. She said that herself. She's like, ever since you've been 3 years old, I knew that you weren't going to work at a cubicle one day, or I knew you weren't going to be doing. I knew you'd be doing something different. So, and that was her saying it to me. So I was like, oh, so you're kind of supportive of this. I'm gonna really push this. So I emailed him. He said, oh yeah, I got some murals coming up. I may need some help with that. I'll let you know. And I just like kept sending him my paintings. And he was like, all right, like school's about to end. Like just come to my studio. We can have a chat. So literally the day I moved out of junior year, I came straight to his studio. He was like, yeah, on the fourth floor, came up, heard some metal blasting and was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know this because most of the I was like, I hope that's him. Like walked in, dude with long hair, just like going real hard in a painting. And I was like, hey, are you Adam? He's like, yeah, what's up? I was like, oh, I'm Shane. Like you said, come see you. I was like, oh, all right, like come in, all this stuff. And kind of like what we're doing now. I told him like, yeah, I played football, but now I want to try.
Hold on. What's his name or what's his handle?
Adam O'Day.
How do you spell that?
It's ADAM, like Adam, and then O''DAY.
Okay, we're gonna put it up there. I'm gonna make him do one of those pop-up things. We're gonna tag him right there. Now,
yeah,
sorry to cut you off.
He's actually he's the only dude with a mural in the TD Garden. He won the portrait of the city, like the portrait of the city of Boston. It was a contest back when I think it was Marty Walsh came into office. He ended up winning that, and they gave prints of a painting that he did of the skyline of Boston to distinguish people that came and visit the city and everything. So like I had heard of him before. He'd like been on the news. Shit. Yeah, he's been featured. Like he's really well known around Boston, just for like, especially because he's a really good artist, but because he's just like a really good dude. And came in and literally like 20 minutes in the conversation, I was like, yeah, me and this guy are very like-minded, kind of like hard-nosed, really honest, blunt type people, and kind of just got the same vibe that he really liked what he was doing. And just like, I mean, the man just pumps out paintings. Like I've seen it. He'll do like 3, 4, 5 a week, sometimes 2 in a night. And I'm still in awe. But he just said like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I feel like you'd be pretty cool. Like, can you stretch a canvas? And I was like, I've never done it. I've watched YouTube videos on it, but I've never done it. And he was like, all right, let's see if you can do it. So literally this was like 45 minutes of meeting him. Stretched the canvas and he was like, all right, it's pretty good. You can come back tomorrow. Let's see if you can actually paint. So then I was like, oh, all right. Like this is kind of like, I felt like I was being like initiated into something. Came back the next day and he's like, all right, I have this IKEA table with this background. Actually, this right here, this big long table. Yeah. These are all the paintings that I probably like. Some of them I'll get rid of, but like this one and this one, like I probably never get rid of just because like they're my first. And this first oil painting ever. And he was like, I want to see if you can actually paint like.
So hold on, before you go into this, like that's not close. Is that on your IG?
Yeah, this right here. It's like
I'm gonna pop it up and it's gonna take up this entire fucking screen right here. And for people to understand how good it is, as your first, like one of your first paintings is Banana Land.
Yeah. So he said like put some dark on it. I was like, all right. Like I did a spray mural of Venom in I think it's Modica Way. It's known as a graffiti alley in Central Square in Cambridge. I actually did a symbol mural in there and then a Venom mural because I always like spray paint. So like those are the first 2 things, and like those kind of helped me out. Some like random people follow me on Instagram because I put my Instagram name on the wall and everything. And I was like, I like Venom. Like I did this mural, and he's like, all right, like paint that though on this table. And 2 hours into it, he literally stopped me and was like, you're telling me this is the first time you've oil painted? And I said, yeah. I've never even like I was like wearing gloves. He was telling me the mediums to use and everything. I was like, I don't even know what's going on. He was like, dude, it looks like you've been doing this for like 20 years. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, come back. Like, let's just keep coming back. Come back. Like, you got to finish this.
Were you getting paid or no?
No.
This was all free.
Yeah, this is all just me kind of being like, I want to learn this. I feel like I could do it. And this guy was helping me because it's hard to get into oil painting. Like I said, I was in business school, so I had no formal art teaching. other than, you know, back in middle school when they make you do like colored pencils or.
Also, I think it's a good, I don't want to keep interrupting you, but I think it's so important to highlight that, you know, if you truly want to do something with your life that you're really passionate about and that you really love, more times than none, you're going to have to do it for free. You're just gonna have to. And I think it separates people. And like, you know, when people reach out, and I'll contextualize this to my full-time job, even like when people reach out on LinkedIn or whatever, or Instagram, and they're like, hey, can I do an internship with you? If half the time, I would say 50% of the people are like, oh, I'm looking for a paid internship. And it's like, then you can tell the difference between the people who reach out and are like, I'll do anything. And I will literally, whatever you need me to do, I just want to help and I want to learn.
Yeah.
Those people separate themselves by miles. And it's not that they won't get paid or they can't get paid. It's the fact that that's not a motive for them. Mm. And I think that's so important. And like, I don't know. And so you do this all summer long, 3 months?
Yeah, it was started right when school ended in May. So it was like May 12th or whatever. And I just came back, and after he saw that painting, he was like, yeah, it's cool, but like, if you really want to get into it and really take this seriously, you can't just paint what everything is cool or like what you like. To like find your style and really get into it, you have to like, kind of like they say, pay homage to the people that started it, or do stuff like paint a still life. And I learned what a still life was. And it was literally like the next day, he was like, you got to paint, I'm going to set up like objects in front of you, and I want you to paint them. Paint the shadows, the way that you see the colors, but not too literally. But he was throwing out all these different art terms that I now know, I guess. But at the time, I was like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'll just paint what I see. So he said, paint this. And it was a pair of like shoes and rolled duct tape. And we both did it. His is unbelievable. I think it's on his website somewhere, but mine was pretty cool. And I was like, all right, this is cool, but I want to be painting like Spider-Man and stuff. Like I want to be doing like cool stuff.
Let me paint Spider-Man.
Yeah. I was like, I want to do like stuff like the Venom. And he's like, you're going to do this first. And then he's like, all right, now we're going to paint a whiskey bottle. So I actually think it's.
I saw that. Yeah. It's on your gram.
Yeah. It's a little Maker's Mark bottle. He was like, painting glass is hard. You got to learn how to do that. So he like had me do all these like real, like the basics. Cause again, like he knew that I didn't go to art school, and he liked practicing himself because he says it keeps him grounded and keeps you like.
Your art is literally better than like people who have a bachelor's degree in art.
Thank you.
It's fucking unbelievable. And and like it's super cool that like, one, I think it's you gotta give the guy credit, Adam credit, because like you're just asking to do some more or less just like random jobs around the shop. And he's like going through this process of like, I'm going to teach him. Mm-hmm. That's crazy talk.
Yeah. It wasn't like, in the way that I've explained it to him, I saw it as he was one of my coaches. So I took it that way, as like I did with football. Like I didn't touch my phone. Like I put my phone away. I completely, everything he said, like I listened to every single word he said. Cause I looked at what he'd done, and I just looked at all the paintings around me, and I said, this, like, I was lucky enough for him to really try and like take the time, because he has kids, he has a family, he's got his responsibilities that he has to take care of. But he let me know every time he was coming to the studio. And I mean, now that I have my own studio too, there are some days that I don't want to have other people in here because I don't want to be bothered and I just want to work. And that's what he didn't really care too much about. And I think once he like realized that I was serious about it and that I wouldn't bother him and that I wasn't like, we just got along and he didn't think I was like a weird person or anything, that he was really willing to like actually teach me. So yeah, I'm forever grateful for like that he did take that chance and to do all this stuff to help me out, because he did not have to at all.
It's awesome because you talked a lot about him when the first time we spoke, and it's a lot of people don't have mentors. They don't have people who are willing to throw out a hand and to help those people. Like I never had a mentor. Nobody really was like, and I don't understand why people don't want to do it. To me, it's one of the most rewarding things when you can help another human on this planet and you can inspire somebody and you can help perfect their craft. And yet for some reason, I don't know anybody who's like a legit mentor and who wants to do that stuff. And it's like, it's really nice and it's refreshing. And hopefully that, whether it's you further down the road or myself or anybody else listening, like help other people. I don't understand why more people don't do that. It's like we live in a society that's so selfish and everybody's so focused on themselves, and that's why we're in this fucking shithole.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like food for thought to consider too, because anytime that I tell people the story about having Adam, especially, they always say like, "Wow, imagine if your mom had never like, or I never
Loop
like."
it full circle, the butterfly effect. It's crazy talk.
Mhm.
And
And
so now, because you are obviously sitting in a very unique space,
yeah,
and it is your own, and you rent this space out in a building that's the same studio space or art building or maker building as Adam even.
yeah,
And so I want you to speak on that, and I specifically want you to speak on how good your parents are, because like I could hear it in the way that you spoke about it the first time. Like your parents are fucking rock stars.
yeah. I mean, especially, I mean, growing up, my dad having me, he was my coach for both track and football. We had like a really good love-hate relationship because there were days that I was like, I hate this guy, and there are days,
Growing up, you hate your parents. That's a
oh, yeah,
fact.
especially when like you go to school and then your dad's telling you what to do at practice and then at home. It's like it becomes a lot, but it was a good working relationship, I guess, because we're both like very like-minded people. But yeah, once football ended, I mean, my dad at the same time, because that was always a like very familiar connection. Obviously, we had other things that we could talk about, but it was like a little tough at first because I was like, "Shall still playing, blah, blah blah, whatever." But I guess, go to the after this past like the summer, yeah, this past summer, seeing the paintings I made, and I did get like commissions and I did commercial work and jobs that I never even knew were possible until like I really saw that what Adam showed me you could do, but also helped having like the business background that I did and the marketing background, because I was able to like turn it into like a reputable thing and like show that I was serious about it and support myself during the summer. That going into the school year, I told my parents that, I think about maybe I'll do a year of grad school. Like I really want to do the art thing full time or put the most time into it, because I want to be able to take both business degrees and then combine it with like a lengthy portfolio in the hopes of one day doing something like, everyone throws like the like I said, the job title creative director out there, but whether it's anything like, artistic or art consulting or something like that, it was something I knew I wanted to do. And first semester was not bad. I did some commissions and I did a couple big paintings. Like I did the Joker painting right here, actually. I did stuff like that in like my little storage closet in my apartment where like me and 5 other kids are living. But Christmas break came and applications for grad school were coming, and my mom was obviously asking me about it. And I said, I'm going to have to think about it. And then I still came and saw Adam here over Christmas break because he's still coming to the studio. And he's like, yeah, we just got a new owner of the building. They actually just opened up 3 or 4 more studios. You should get one. And I never thought that. I was like, I mean, growing up, I used to love Casey Neistat and like Tom Sachs and guys that had studios, just like maker spaces. I always loved to become a big YouTube guy. So like I always came across them and I said, that would be just the coolest thing ever, but never thought it would be something I'd actually get. So Christmas break, I didn't want to start the application process. And I just, one day was like, Mom, I want to get a studio. Just want to see what she said. And she was like, okay, and we can look into it. Is there some in the building with Adam, or like in the same building as Adam? And I said, yeah, that's why I'm saying it. 2 just opened up that I would like to look into, because I came down to this space and looked at it. It's 800 square feet. It's massive. It's really big.
Bigger than my apartment that I'm sitting in.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and I saw this space, and it was like January 2nd or 1st, and I said, Mom, I really want it.
Of this year?
Yeah, this year. And I said, Mom, I'll pay for it. I mean, because I thankful enough, I didn't have any student loans or anything from football. So I just said, like, I'll pay for it. This is what I want to do. Let me do it for, like, we can make a timestamp. I'll do it for a year. If at the end of the year, it isn't going well, then I'll get like a job. Or if it doesn't lead into something that I can, turn into something that is actually practical, then I'll like close shop. But my mom was real supportive of it. And then talking to my dad too, he just pretty much said the same thing. Like, you're going to treat it like a job. When school ends, you're going to go in there and show us that you're serious about it.
Right.
And I just said, like, look at what I did in the 2.5 months I was with Adam, but I was cut. I had like like the momentum I had going into school was cut because I didn't really have like the best space to paint. And then obviously school was kicking my ass. So
I got two comments. The first is serious. The second one's not so serious.
yeah.
Like you're legitimately, regardless of if you know it or not, you are a pure businessman. You are an entrepreneur. You gave your parents a proposal that's like a fucking pitch deck, like a startup.
No, I know.
Like, I'm gonna do it for X amount of time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that I do this, this, and this. It's like, dude, you understand everything to business.
Well, yeah, and I kind of recognized, because I looked at what I did during the summer, and I was like, I want to do that again. I mean, I was able to support myself. I was able to do well, and I just truly enjoyed it. I was able to
It's amazing.
bring everything I liked. Like, actually, I'm like the clothing. Like, I made this sweatshirt, like painted, embroidered it. Sweatshirt, all the paintings. I was doing murals. I was doing all this stuff that I really liked, and I wanted to like see where it could go. And I just said, like, please let me do this. I was standing there in the kitchen. My mom was working. My dad was upstairs. I was like, Mom, I want to get a studio. I'll do this, that, and that, because I prepared it. Like, I wrote it down. I'll
this
say
is why I like talking to you, because we're legitimately exactly the same. I remember when I was growing up, I wanted a hamster so fucking bad.
Yeah.
I wanted a hamster, and I was going nuts with this hamster. My parents, or maybe it was a gerbil or something like that. It was one of those little rat thingies, and like my parents were like, they were like bartering with me, right? They're like, We're not going to get you this unless you do this. And like this one day, my dad's just like, they're cooking liver. I don't know how many parents cook liver. My parents are foreign, and so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They cook some liver. And for those who have never smelled cooked liver, it smells awful and it makes you want to gag. And they're like, if you eat this piece of liver, we'll buy you a hamster. And I'm like, I can't stand the smell, but I'm going to eat this thing just to get this pet.
Yeah.
I ate it and I threw up all over the kitchen table. And if my parents listen to this, they will attest to it. Yeah. It's like I did it and I puked immediately because I told them I would.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, I got that gerbil or hamster or whatever it was. So I love your the way that you position things. It's like, it's so relative.
Yeah. Oh, that was the same thing too. I guess it's kind of like a proving people wrong thing, like we talked about the last time. Whether it was football growing up, people always throw out there just, oh, he only plays because of his dad's a coach on the thing. I was like, no, I'm gonna play college football. Like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. You can get hung up on that, but I've always been that way. Where I like when people say you can't do something, whether it's like, oh, you don't think I'll shave my head? Watch, I'll go shave my head like a crazy man. So I mean, no matter what it is, with the studio, I was like, I know I can do something with this. I just need the space. Because practically you do need the space to do like the type of paintings I like to do.
The type of paintings you do, yeah. You need that. You can't do it in a pretty apartment at all. Like,
you need the space, and I like doing bigger things too. But I also like making a lot of different things. Like you post like a poster in my couch that I had. Like I bought a couch on Craigslist and I posted my pictures to it.
You can't do that.
Stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that you like can't really do. I just knew there's all this stuff that I still haven't in place that I want to do. But I said, let me get the studio. Fast forward, literally like maybe 2 days later, I got the contact information for my now landlord here at the space and said, like, can I please like have the space, whatever, like any space you have, like, let me look. I mean, I'm very familiar. I've been in the building since, last May. I work with Adam, and I got it literally like 3 days later. Like, it really happened like that quick. And I spent the last week I was home, Christmas break, like moving stuff in. My uncle and my dad and I built my now workbench. That's in the middle of the room. I did a big gorilla mural. It's actually right here on this wall here.
Oh my God, that is massive. Dude, you got to give the people a warning. You can't just turn the camera and have there be fucking Planet of the Apes size shit.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of old spray, like leftover paint from the summer.
No, go back to it. You weren't there long enough.
Yeah, so there's the gorilla. So I did that on the wall, like the first.
You did that with spray paint?
Spray paint and a brush, yeah.
Dude, if any business is listening, can you just hire Shane to do some badass mural? That is insanity.
Yeah, so I did the cool. That was the thing too. I was like, if I ever get a space, I'm doing murals over the wall. Like down like this whole side, there's just all stuff that like working on and whatever. But I was like, I'm gonna do a giant mural, and then. Most of my ideas, I don't really know where they come from, but I was like, I'm going to do a giant gorilla. Like, that's all I can see on that wall.
So like you've now brought the story to, you know, recent history, and like you just took a final last night, I think you told me,
Yeah.
and you're graduating in how many weeks?
Uh, Beginning of May. So
Yeah, so in a month.
yeah,
And
a month. Yeah, a month.
what are you gonna do? You talked about wanting to be some sort of artistic director or something revolving, mixing both, you know, your background or what you're studying in college, but then also this passion. And like, it's not easy to always do a job that you really love doing. And so I'm super curious as to like if you have an idea or you have a plan of action of what you want to do, and or if there's any way that either myself or anybody else listening can help with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's where, especially I've had to do it now more so, in like the whole entire thinking type of like, what am I gonna do? Especially since the whole pandemic, because I was supposed to be in school for another month. It's been a month
Totally.
since we left, so it was kind of like you're being sent home. I wasn't too mad at the extra realities of it because I've been locked in my studio. I mean, because it's only I come from home to here, and that's like here and back is the only place that I come. So I've been locked in here and really working everything. But I guess when it really comes down to it is I just want to keep making the stuff that I like, whether it's paintings, clothes, because I try to practice everything. I mean, I really don't limit myself, I guess. I've made a film about my painting for actually a class that I took, but like I made a film about it. I'm really into like making, you know, like little movies like that, but then also actual paintings, fine art, murals. Like I said, the clothing, like the one I'm wearing, like furniture, like there's a bunch of different stuff that I really want to just like start making, and hopefully someone will see it and say like, I want you to come do this for me, or like, let's work on this project, or whether it's anything from like, you know, creative marketing, like I would love doing that, or even something like you're doing. Like I feel like just all the different like mediums I practice and types of things I like making, it could be applied in a lot of different areas, I guess. So it's hard for me to like put an exact, because I don't really know exactly what I want to do. But I mean, if you told me a year ago that I'd be sitting in a studio talking about like my art career, I'd say you're absolutely ridiculous. Like there's no
Totally
way
right.
I'd ever be doing that. Yeah. But
And
now I'm sitting,
if you told me that you know, when I was in high school, I didn't even know what industrial design was. I didn't know I could get a degree in it. And like that's the thing that like hangs people up, I think, is that uncertainty, or is like you don't know what you're going to do, but so many people are even scared of trying something.
yeah,
And you're not, which puts you way ahead of everybody else, so you're going to figure it out. But like the biggest thing that I've seen is so many people are like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, or I don't know where I want to go in my career, because like I'm always really interested with asking people I don't know, well, like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what's next? And like, the answer can be, I don't know, but like, you got to try things to figure it out. Like,
yeah,
what makes you happy? What are you passionate about? This, that. You can do multiple things like we talked about. And like, you're going to be all right. Like, I'm not worried about it, but like, it's going to be super fun to kind of watch you figure it out,
yeah,
and where you go. And like, we did talk about this, and I told you for like on our phone call, you know, because you started our conversation by let's collaborate, I believe was
yeah.
the DM.
Mhm.
And like, as soon as the global pandemic is over, like, I'm gonna go to the studio, we're gonna record it, we're gonna make some shit, and then we're gonna sell some shit, and whoever listens to this, I want you to buy it, and all the proceeds can go to some foundation or something. We'll decide, we'll do something cool with it.
Okay.
Because I like, one, not many people just reach out to random people to just be like, let's work on something
Yeah.
with no goal, just being like, I think it'd be awesome to work together.
Mhm.
And so we're gonna make it happen once this global pandemic's over. And like, I think, you know, whatever happens in the future, you know, it's kind of a scary time, you know, and I don't want to talk too much about coronavirus because everybody's sick and tired of it. But
Yeah.
even for college students looking for work, it's a different world. Nobody's hiring right now.
Everyone's talking about it because obviously all my like friends obviously are in the same position where we're kind of thrown at home, and a lot of people still don't have jobs, but even those that do have jobs are like, what's going to happen? So yeah, very, very up in the air for a lot of people, especially kids that, you know, are like, I should be hanging out with my friends in my apartment right now, or I should be, enjoying my last month or two of my senior year, but now we're at home. So
Nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
So a couple things, because I think we've hit almost an hour now, chatting, and I'll go forever. Three things. What are your parents' names? Let's give them a huge shout out, because they are incredible people.
Chris and Kathy. Those are my
Chris
two
and Kathy Leonard. Shout out to you guys. You've done a tremendous job with Shane. I think I'm so stoked. I don't know you that well. This is our third time talking, but like, you're gonna fucking take this world to the moon, and I'm so stoked.
Thank you.
And I'm really happy that you can kind of chop it up with us, and hopefully other people get something out of this. I think you can inspire a lot of people.
Thank you.
That was number one. I forget what the other 2 or 3 things that I was gonna say are. Where can the second thing was, where can people find you?
I have a website and on Instagram. Obviously, Instagram's really easy because you can respond quickly and everything. But I have a lot of what I've done. I'll post it on Instagram, but then I also have a website. So my Instagram is, if you look at my name, it'll come. But Shane Leonard, it's SLEONXRD is my actual Instagram name. But then I have a website, shanemakes.com. I just wanted it pretty straightforward. And easy
Awesome. And so what's next? Like, what's next for the summer? What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish short term, not long term?
Yeah, short term, I have some commissions just to, pay the rent for the studio space, but I have my notes are filled. I have literally 600. I was checking it last night actually. I have 600 notes of just painting ideas and clothing ideas and stuff I want to make just in my phone. But I have 4 or 5 that I think could do. One of them was the Spider-Man painting, the collage comics and everything. I have 4 or 5 things like that I want to do. Because I've been doing up to this point really just commissions just to maintain myself.
And so I want to touch on, because not many people, maybe they don't know or understand the art world, but where do you find your commissions? How do people reach out, and how do you get your work?
A lot of it is people seeing something else I've done, because people that aren't really too involved or do it themselves in the art world, I guess, if you're not really familiar with it, they'll see something and then say, oh, I have something that's very similar. Oh, I love, people have seen my Maker's Mark bottle. It's a 9x12 painting. Mm-hmm. And actually someone saw it. A lot of it's through Instagram. Actually the director, it was previously known as the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. It's on NBC every year. It's for high school football players. The owner of that followed me on Instagram, I think, and saw a story I did a painting of an Air Force One. And he saw that, and then saw that I did the Maker's Mark bottle, and he was like, "Oh, I love Louis the 13th, the cognac." And then he works with Adidas, and he's like, "I have a pair of shoes I really like." So he asked me to do I did a huge painting of the shoe with the Adidas glass and a bottle of Louis the 13th. So people see stuff I've done and say "Oh, I want that in this style," or people will just mainly see previous work, I guess, but a lot through Instagram. A lot actually is through word of mouth, just a lot of friends and family, I guess. But a lot of it is through Instagram, honestly.
That's awesome. And then, so, how do you price out your work? Because I'm intrigued by a 22-year-old trying to figure out how to make money, but how do you price yourself? Because now I do my sneaker paintings, and I have my own price that I set, because I know that I put about 40 to 50 hours into them, and I don't charge $10 an hour. I don't calculate it that way, but I'm curious to see, how do you figure that out?
Yeah.
You don't have to name numerical values. I just wanted to understand what your thought process behind it is.
At first I had no idea. And that's where Adam has really helped me, especially just the business of being an artist too. Something because I was like, how much do you sell a painting for? Is it based on size? Is it based on whatever? It was the painting after the shark actually I put into a local art show, and it won popular vote and all that stuff. But they told me the reason no one bought it was because it was severely underpriced, and they thought something was it was $100. And they said that people didn't think it was from, it was something they're oh, they didn't think it was from a reputable artist because it was only $100. And then I told Adam, he's like, oh yeah, that should have been closer to $1,000. I was like, oh, all right, that's my bad. But I guess most of the paintings I do, It depends if it's acrylic or oil. Oil is obviously more expensive because it's more tedious, takes longer to dry, harder to use, all that stuff. Murals I price differently too. Murals usually do like um, a certain dollar amount per square foot, so it doesn't matter like what it is. So like say like I've had someone say like, hey, I have a 13 by 10 shed. How much will that be? And I'll just say, say it's $10 a square foot. That's what I've done before. And then you just multiply it by 10 by 13 by 10, and you get the price. So, like stuff like that. But paintings, it's usually based on size and what kind of medium it is. Usually, like you said, you usually don't put a price on like per hour, but you do know what.
Have you ever heard of Powwow Worcester?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I haven't worked with them before.
you should totally work with them if you haven't. And
Yeah,
my buddy Che, who works for the city, is really heavily invested in Powwow, and I'll connect you to, because I think he would love to get you guys working together.
Yeah, Adam's worked with. He's done murals with them, I think, before. And then I mean, everyone from like I don't know if you know who Gondek is. Gondek draws. He does like the murals of like Mickey Mouse with like a skeleton and stuff, or like
Yeah.
There's actually a huge mural. I think it's in Worcester. Of like he's done it through them and stuff.
Awesome. So anything else that you want to talk about, or you want to chop it up? Like otherwise, like I mean, I'm not that I'm keeping track, but we hit an hour. That was my goal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we did. I did talk about a lot of stuff, I guess.
That was my goal. I mean, like, I don't have what I keep looking down on is simply my phone, and like all I do is just check the time, and like it's not that, like, because I think things that go over an hour sometimes people get like bored of, and the fact I'm not editing, I'm not cutting anything out. I'm simply just going to do pop-up images like I did my first one, because that shit was fun. But like I'm not editing anything, and like nor will I. I think it's nice that it's just a conversation and there's no agenda. I'm sure I can't wait for the first time where I have a conversation with somebody that I think is going to go really great, and it doesn't. Like, I'm excited for that because it's going to get awkward. And this wasn't awkward, which made it really fun. And I can't believe we were chatting for an hour. To your point, it feels like 10 minutes and it goes by for a full hour. And I think that's awesome. And I'm super happy that, like, you reached out and we got connected, and now we have, once this gets posted, it'll be the first episode of an Untold narrative. And, I think you're exactly who I'm trying to target and like shed light on, and like people who nobody knows about. You're a kid from where in Massachusetts?
Marshfield, Mass.
Marshfield, Mass. I don't even know where that is in Mass. So shout out Marshfield.
Steve Crow lived there. Steven Tyler still does.
There you go. I don't know why Steve Crow reminded me. This is the second thing I wanted to, the funny thing I was going to reference earlier. So I recently watched a YouTube video about Tom Sachs, and all he talked about was touching like Barbie dolls' breasts. Yeah,
he's a very like exotic type dude, I guess.
Yeah. And I was like, what am I watching and why am I watching it? I was just it was very.
I mean, he'll do stuff like that, but then like, have you seen the poncho that he made with Nike? It's like the collapsible poncho, where like you pull it out and it just like it's just like a fanny pack.
I don't question his work. I just
unbelievable. But he's like touching the Barbie doll thing. I've seen it too.
Yeah, I was just like, this interview is going way differently than So thanks for not derailing this.
Barbie.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up here, but for all those interested, all the links to your profiles and your websites will be in the bio of this video. Thanks for spending the time in the night. I know that you're in the midst of finals and other stuff, and I do look forward to once the pandemic is over, we'll connect and we'll do some stuff and we'll create some cool things. And I'm excited, and hopefully something comes out of this for you. People who are in the industry and who watch this, like, give them a commission, work, whatever. If you like something, we're going to do the up close. I'll pop some up close to the work behind you. It's freaking remarkable.
Thank you.
So
people will
cool,
say,
man.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for thinking of me. I mean, I love, as soon as you told me the idea, I was like, I couldn't believe that someone hasn't done something like this yet either. Cause obviously there's a lot of people out there.
Dude, I'll expand on it a little bit more. Like, I consume my entire day. Like, I love podcasts where they talk about CEOs or, you know, C-level executives or just makers like, you know, Kirby from Pierre Moss, or, you know, even, you know, you'll watch the Harvard YouTubes about Virgil and stuff like that. And like, those are all great. And there's a lot of really good content in there. There is, don't get me wrong. And those people deserve to be on YouTubes and stuff.
Yeah.
But everybody has a fucking story, and some need to be told too. And you may never get, if that butterfly effect just for some reason gets cut off, like, you have this incredible story that may or may not ever get told. And I'm not about to fucking let that happen. So we're going to take this.
I appreciate that.
We're going to take yourself and however many people. I got like a list of 7 or 8 people at this point that I'm really excited about, because they're all different backgrounds. Like, I don't want people to think this is in footwear design, this is in art. It's not. I want photographers. I want writers. I want fashion designers. I want everybody. I'm not biased or prejudiced to any sort of creativity. And I hope this actually sheds a lot of light, and maybe we'll spin zone the entire world on its head.
I mean, that'd be awesome. I think, like you said too, like the creative industry as a whole, I think that's why I literally had no idea. And when people ask me what I want to do, I don't know, because I could, like you said, photography and writing and actual sneaker design and everything. Like, I could see myself, if you said you're going to do this for the rest of your life and get paid to do it, and if it's something creative, I'd be like, okay, that would be cool. So yeah, this series, like I said, as soon as you told me about it, I was like, how has no one done that yet? Because obviously, like you said, people love going on YouTube and watching, like, you know, the latest Virgil video or how, you know, Cause did this or that, which is, they're obviously in the place that they are for a reason, and they do phenomenal things that have completely like shift all sorts of culture. But sometimes, like you said, there are some people, I'm not saying like me in specific, but there are some people even I've met, like, especially music. I am like a devout music person. It's like, if it's not now art, it's music. Like, I love all sorts of music. There's some people out there, I'm like, how is this person not, you know, bigger than some of like the biggest names we know? Like, I'm sure you heard yourself. In every single discipline, every single world, there are people that should be. And I think in this day and age, like you're saying, like you said, 2020, you can almost do, after the pandemic, you can do almost anything you want.
That's just an excuse. See, I even think that's bullshit, because, like, you know, people, I did, and hopefully nobody, I just got off a call. Literally, it ended 15 minutes before I joined yours with the Worcester Arts Council. And we're now shifted those meetings to, like, you do grant reviews and you do, you know, reimbursement reviews and stuff like that. And like, the world is shifting and you can accommodate it. And like, somebody made a comment of like, is anybody thriving in the pandemic? And I'm like, I'm doing a bunch of shit. And
my friends are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I've been painting more than I have ever
it's
thought.
Just an excuse for, it's like, dude, this is the time to do everything. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it. And we're going to figure it out. And those types of people I want on this show. And that's it. I'm like parched as shit. So I need like a beer sponsor or something. Yeah. Shout out Bud Light, Bush Lattes. If you guys want to send us some money or beer or whatever.
Untold narrative brought to you by Bush Light.
That'd be beautiful. So
sounds great.
We're taking requests now. But no, seriously, for all those still listening, if you are still listening, please click the little subscribe button thingy down there. That would be a massive help. I don't know how YouTube operates and how people get more views or how it spreads or how it gets posted on people's feeds. I haven't understood that logic yet, but I think the subscribe button is a big part of it. So please just click it. It doesn't do much. And then also share this. Sharing is caring. But that's it. We're going to wrap up here. Most of you know me. My name is David Falar, and you are?
Shane Leonard.
Cool. From Marshfield, Mass, putting Marshfield on the map. So thanks, man. I massively appreciate it. I can't wait to connect in real life. We'll talk super soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, cool. Stay healthy and happy, man.
You too, man.
All right, cheers.